With about 10 minutes left in today's edition of the program, let's bring in our final guest, one of over 350 charities and nonprofits supported on the Shared Detroit platform. Starlite Williams is the Vice President of S.A.V.E. Detroit and joins us on today's edition of the program. Starlite, thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Tyler. Thank you for having us. I truly appreciate you guys.
Yeah, so glad to have you on to talk about S.A.V.E. Detroit. For those that aren't familiar with your nonprofit, tell us about S.A.V.E. Detroit, its history, and the mission or the services you're providing in Detroit and the local area.
Awesome. So S.A.V.E. Detroit stands for Stopping All Violence Everywhere. We're based here in Detroit, originated in Detroit. So my husband and I are native Detroiters. It was founded by my husband, John Williams. Born and raised, he grew up on the east side of Detroit, attended Detroit public schools, played basketball at every Detroit park and gym there is. And, out of that came S.A.V.E. Detroit. It started in 2008. Unfortunately, it was due to an unfortunate situation. John had a really dear friend of his. He basically prevented him from murdering another person, and then eventually that same guy was murdered that particular night by someone else, and that's how S.A.V.E. Detroit was kind of birthed as far as the name. But I always tell John, that he had S.A.V.E. Detroit had already existed well before that, because he was always about bringing the community together with basketball, because he loved basketball so much. But that's how S.A.V.E. Detroit kind of came about, due to that unfortunate situation. And then just a little bit more about what we do. We do a lot of different programs we start with our youth. Our youth is, of course, our future. And so we want to be able to instill in them some of those same qualities, those same things that we learned, that we grew up on when it came to the different rec centers that we grew up on, things of that nature. And so we try to instill those same tools and skills into our youth today.
Yeah, what's interesting is even on your website, savedetroit.org, what caught my eye immediately on your About page, or right at the top of that homepage, is that tackling this issue can be complicated, and there's so much that goes into how violence pops up in communities anywhere in Michigan or around the world. But how to solve that can be even more complicated, and your goal is to tackle that, as it says, quote, one person, one issue, and one situation, and closed quote, at a time. So how does that also play into the work that you're doing out on the streets every single day in the communities in Detroit to try to address the issue of violence, one person at a time, one group at a time, and ultimately teach them some other ways that maybe they can address some issues they're having in their community with individuals or with groups, and prevent those from ultimately turning to violence?
Yeah, so like I said, we started with the youth. We know that the violence does not only start and ends with our youth, but they are our future. So as we say, we're tackling one person at a time. We wanted to start with our youth, because again, they are our future. We want to give them all of the different tools and prepare them for the different things that they are not able to cope with, that they don't know how to cope with. We just remember when we were young, all of the different activities that we were able to be involved in, the places, the different rec centers that we were able to participate in to keep us off the street. Our youth are so influenced by so much more than what I was able to see when we were growing up, And so we want to be able to give them those positive avenues and those positive activities that they can, definitely tap into. So when we say one person at a time, we're starting with the youth, because we know that's our future. But then we also want to tap into our adults as well, because we want to be able to provide different programs and initiatives for them as well. One situation at a time. Violence can be so many things. It's so broad. It isn't just gun violence. It's, physical violence. It's, verbal violence. It's psychological. It's sexual. It's socioeconomic violence. So all of those situations, they play a part in violence. And so when we talk about one situation at a time, what are the different situations, or what are the different issues that we're seeing that we can talk about, we can bring awareness to, that we can help make an impact to our community by making them aware. What can we do about physical abuse, verbal abuse, getting our community involved. It isn't just about, John and I and our organization and our group. It's about all of us collectively. And so that's how we look at it in that perspective of bringing everything together, one situation, one person at a time.
Joining us on today's edition of the program is Starlite Williams, the Vice President of S.A.V.E. Detroit. You can find more information on the organization, ways you can get involved as well at savedetroit.org or by visiting sharedetroit.org, where you'll learn more about S.A.V.E. Detroit and 356 other charities and nonprofits and counting on their platform, sharedetroit.org. And what's so great about this, and one of the great points that you made, is this kind of all comes back to not necessarily violence prevention, but community building. And as much as we hear, Starlite, about the violence in our major cities and the issues that have grown from that violence, what we don't hear about enough is the community of individuals and organizations that are working together to address that and build those communities. So how does partnership play into the work that you're doing at S.A.V.E. Detroit, addressing violence from the grassroots in Detroit?
It plays a big part. We can't do it alone. We need to partner with as many organizations, as many neighbors, as many communities as possible to actually see this thing go into full force. We have to come together as a whole. And so we have linked up with a few other organizations. And we always encourage working with other organizations that share the same similar goals that we have. You know, we have done things with Mac Alive. They cater to the east side of Detroit communities. Two Times Focus, they have their own mentorship programs that we have joined with them and partner with them on a few occasions. Encouragement Corner Outreach, they are a ministry organization that does community outreaching throughout the community. That's with Fred and Laquana Bolton. So partnership is extremely important, because without partners, without the community coming together, we won't be able to stop the violence everywhere.
Joining us on the program today is Starlite Williams, the Vice President of S.A.V.E. Detroit, one of over 350 charities and nonprofits supported on the Share Detroit platform. One of the ways you can support them is by joining them out in the community in the Detroit area in July on Belle Isle. You have your first annual 5K run and walk event coming up on July 16th. Tell us about this event, how people can participate.
Yeah, so we are so excited. It's Sunday, July 16th, starting at 8 o'clock to 12 p.m. on Belle Isle. You can definitely get involved. You can check us out on Share Detroit website. We have a profile there where you can sign up there. You can also go to our own website at savedetroit.org, or you can find our event on Eventbrite. We highly encourage everyone to participate. There is a fee, there is a savings if you join as a team, but it's more than just a 5K. We really want to bring the community together so that they can understand what the different resources are. Our focus for this 5K is focusing on driving awareness to mental health. It's extremely important. It's a topic that's not talked about a lot. There's a really big stigma about it. And we really want to provide those resources that's available that a lot of people are not aware of. Let's talk about it. Let's support each other. Let's come together and let's make a difference. So Belle Isle, July 16th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Be there. We're going to have a lot of fun. This is our first one. We will be doing it every year moving forward, but we really want to bring the community together. It will be timed by the Michigan Running Foundation. So they will be there. So if you're a competitor, definitely you could still be, you can get your stats. But like I said, it's more than just a 5K. We really want to bring the community together.
Some competition and some community building on Belle Isle. Again, July 16th. Start time 8 a.m., finish time 11 a.m. $45 for adult registration, $35 for youth registration. That includes a T-shirt. You can register as a team at a discount as well. savedetroit.org/events for more information. You can also find more info on sharedetroit.org. Starlite, with another minute or so left on today's show today, I want to give you an opportunity, or any other volunteer opportunities or ways that people can get involved with S.A.V.E. Detroit, even beyond the 5K.
Yeah, absolutely. Go to our website. We have a lot of different volunteer options. We are always looking to partner with other organizations. Let us know about your events. We will definitely love to participate and join and bring people out to your events as well. There's so many ways that we can get involved. And like I said, this is more than just us. It's more than just S.A.V.E. Detroit. This is really about the community coming together. We definitely look for volunteers for all of our different events, especially for our 5K that's coming up. We will be a part of the Share Detroit Summer. Share Summer Detroit. So we'll be there this June 10th at 5 p.m. So be there at the Jimmy John Field. So we'll be participating with you guys there as well. So just come and join us, and feel free to reach out to us in any way. Our handle, Facebook and Instagram is SaveDetroit.org. Our website is SaveDetroit.org.
You're doing in the city of Detroit to address a complicated issue, but doing it in a way that's building people up as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.